My name is Emily. I live in Bloomington, Indiana. It's a quiet place with small parks, cozy streets, and people who smile when they pass you. I work at a flower shop near the center of the city. Every morning, I open the doors and smell fresh roses, lilies, and sunflowers. I arrange the flowers, take care of them, and help people choose something beautiful. Some days feel long, but I enjoy my work. I like simple things, warm tea, long walks, and quiet evenings. I didn't have a big life, but it felt good enough. One rainy morning, a man came into the shop. He wore a gray jacket, and his hair was wet. He looked like he had something heavy on his mind. I asked if I could help him. He said he wanted white flowers for his mother's birthday. Then he told me his mother had passed away the year before. His voice was soft when he said it. I felt something in my chest, something kind and quiet. I wrapped the flowers for him and handed them over. Before he left, he looked at me and said, "Thank you. She would have liked you." The next week, he came again. This time it wasn't raining. He bought yellow tulips. He smiled more. He asked my name. I asked his. His name was Ryan. He worked at a bookstore across the street. He liked to read in the quiet hours and drink coffee with too much sugar. He said the flower shop made his mornings feel better. I laughed and said maybe flowers had secret magic. After that, Ryan came to the shop almost every day. Sometimes he bought flowers, sometimes just coffee, and sometimes nothing at all. We started talking more. First about simple things like the weather or books, then deeper things like family, memories, and dreams. We had lunch a few times, then coffee after work, then walks around the neighborhood where we talked until the sky turned orange. I liked the way he listened. I liked the way he smiled when I talked about small things. One weekend, he asked if I wanted to go to a small music show near the lake. I said yes. We sat on the grass, listening to soft music and watching the water move slowly. At one point, he looked at me and said, "You make me feel calm." I didn't know what to say, so I just looked at him and smiled. A few weeks later, he held my hand for the first time while we walked through a farmer's market. It felt natural, like our hands had always known each other. After a few months, we decided to move in together. He had a small house with wooden floors and soft curtains. It wasn't big, but it had light in every room. I brought my plants and a few paintings. He made space for my books and even helped hang fairy lights above the bed. We made coffee together in the morning and cooked pasta at night. Sometimes we danced in the kitchen when no music was playing. It felt like love. It felt like something strong. He told me he had been hurt before, that someone he trusted had left him. He said he never wanted to feel like that again. I promised I would stay. I promised I would be kind. I gave him everything I had. I thought we were building something real. But one night, something felt different. I came home early from work. I had made his favorite cookies at the shop and wanted to surprise him. When I walked in, the house was quiet. I called his name. No answer. I walked into the living room and saw his phone on the table. A message popped up on the screen. I didn't want to look, but my eyes did it before I could stop them. The message said, "Last night was perfect. When can I see you again?" It was from someone named Claire. My hands went cold. My legs felt weak. I sat down and waited for him to come home. When he arrived, he looked surprised to see me. I asked him who Claire was. At first, he said she was just a friend. Then he sat down and didn't speak. I asked again. He didn't answer. I felt my heart sink. I wanted him to say something, anything to make it better. But he just looked at the floor. I packed a small bag and left that night. I didn't scream. I didn't cry in front of him. I just walked out. I went to stay with my friend Sarah. She gave me a blanket and didn't ask too many questions. I sat on her couch that night and cried quietly. I didn't want to believe it. I kept thinking maybe I read the message wrong. Maybe it was all a mistake. But in my heart, I knew the truth. Something between us had broken. He sent me messages. He called. He said he was sorry, that it meant nothing, that he made a mistake. But the pain was heavy. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat much. At work, I smiled at people, but I felt like something inside me was missing. I missed him. I missed the person I thought he was. I missed our morning coffee and our evening walks. But I also felt angry. I had trusted him. I had believed in him. Sarah told me to take my time. She said I didn't have to forgive him if I wasn't ready. Some days I hated him. Some days I missed him so much it hurt to breathe. I didn't know what to do. My heart felt like it was pulled in two directions, one full of love and one full of pain. That was the beginning of my silence. I didn't answer his calls anymore. I didn't walk past the bookstore. I stayed in my own world and tried to feel strong again. But nothing felt strong yet. I was just trying to hold myself together. I didn't know what would happen next. I just knew I needed space. Space to think. Space to feel. Space to breathe without wondering where he was or who he was thinking about. And in that space, maybe I would begin to understand what forgiveness really means. Before I share the rest of my story, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from? It gives me strength to know someone is hearing my words, someone who understands me. Please tell me in the comments. I would really love to know. Days passed slowly after I left Ryan's house. I stayed at Sarah's apartment for a while. She lived in a small place near the university. It wasn't fancy, but it had a warm feeling. Her couch became my bed, and her kitchen table became my place to sit and think. Every morning, she made coffee and asked how I was feeling. I never had the right words, so I usually just said, "I'm okay." Sometimes that was true. Most days, it wasn't. I still went to work at the flower shop. It helped to stay busy. I liked touching the petals, trimming the stems, and wrapping flowers with soft paper and ribbon. I smiled at the customers and helped them choose something beautiful. but inside, I was tired. I felt like I was only pretending to be fine. When people asked how I was, I smiled and said I was doing well, but my heart still felt heavy. Sarah never pushed me to talk, but one night we sat on the floor eating pasta, and she asked, "Do you think you'll go back to him?" I looked down at my plate and didn't answer right away. "I don't know," I said. "I loved him. I still do. But I also don't know if I can trust him again." She gave a small sigh. "It's okay not to know. Just don't forget to love yourself too." That night, I lay in bed and thought about everything. I remembered the first time Ryan came into the shop. I remembered the quiet walks, the yellow curtains, the way he said I was his home. I also remembered the silence when I asked about Claire, the way he looked at the floor instead of at me, the way he didn't stop me from walking out the door. The next day at work, something strange happened. Ryan came into the flower shop. He stood near the door, not too close. His hair looked messy, and he seemed nervous. I froze for a second, not sure what to say. He held something in his hand. It was a single white rose. He walked slowly to the counter and placed the flower on it. "I know you don't want to see me," he said. "I'm sorry for coming here, but I didn't know any other way to talk to you." I didn't speak. I just looked at the rose and then at his face. "I made a mistake," he continued. "And I know sorry is not enough. I miss you. I miss everything about us. I miss the mornings, the laughter, the quiet nights. I miss your voice." His voice was shaking now. "But I also understand if you don't want me in your life anymore." I took a slow breath. "Why did you do it?" I asked quietly. He looked down for a moment and then back at me. "I don't know," he said. "That's the worst part. I was scared of losing you, and instead, I did the one thing that made that happen. I was selfish. I thought maybe something was missing in me, not you. But I was wrong." My hands were cold. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. "You should go," I said. He gave a slow look, not angry, just sad. "Okay," he said softly. He turned and walked out, leaving the rose behind. I stood there for a long time after he left. I didn't touch the rose. I didn't move. My heart felt like it was shaking. I didn't know if it was because I was still hurt or because part of me still cared. That night, I told Sarah what happened. She listened carefully, then said, "You don't have to forgive him now. But maybe one day, not for him, but for you." I didn't sleep much. I kept hearing his voice in my head. Not the part where he said sorry, but the part where he said he missed my voice. I thought about how many nights I used to talk to him about small things, what flower colors people liked, how the clouds looked like animals, how I always lost one sock from each pair. He used to laugh at those things. He used to listen like every word mattered. I didn't answer his message the next day, or the day after that. But on the third day, I went for a walk. I passed the bookstore where he worked. I didn't mean to go there. It just happened. The lights were on. He was inside. He didn't see me. He was talking to a little boy and helping him find a comic book. He smiled as he pointed to a shelf. The boy laughed, and Ryan laughed too. Something inside me felt warm and strange. I walked away without going inside. Later that week, I sat in a small park with a notebook. I didn't write anything. I just sat and watched the trees move in the wind. A couple walked past holding hands. They looked quiet and happy. I felt a mix of sadness and hope. I knew I still loved him, but love wasn't always enough. I needed time. I needed truth. I needed to feel safe again. The next Sunday, Ryan sent me one more message. He said he wasn't going to send any more after this. He said he wanted me to have peace. He told me that if I ever wanted to talk, he would be there. But if not, he understood. He ended the message by saying, "I'll always be thankful for the time I got to love you." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I put my phone away. A few days later, I stood in the flower shop, wrapping a bouquet for an old couple. The woman held the man's hand while they waited. She told me it was their 40th wedding anniversary. She said, "Love means choosing each other again, even after the hard parts." That sentence stayed in my mind. That evening, I went back to the park where Ryan and I used to sit. The bench was still there. The sky was light blue with soft clouds. I didn't know what would happen next. I didn't know if we would ever be together again. But I knew one thing. I didn't want to carry pain forever. Maybe forgiveness wasn't about saying everything was okay. Maybe it was about letting myself feel light again. Some weeks passed. Life moved slowly. I still worked at the flower shop. I still stayed at Sarah's apartment. The days felt softer, not so heavy. The sadness didn't go away, but it wasn't as sharp anymore. It came and went like small waves. I had stopped waiting for a message from Ryan. I didn't walk near his bookstore on purpose anymore. I stopped looking at my phone late at night. My heart still remembered him, but it also started remembering me. One afternoon, I stayed at the shop a bit longer to help clean. It was quiet. The windows showed the last light of the day. I was wiping the counter when the bell above the door rang. I turned around. It was Ryan. He didn't have flowers or a gift, just himself. He looked different, calm, not afraid. "I didn't come to ask for anything," he said. "I just wanted to see how you're doing." I didn't feel nervous this time. I wasn't angry. I was just still. "I'm okay," I said. "I'm trying." He gave a small smile. "That's good." We stood there, quiet for a moment. I looked at his face, and it wasn't the same as before. He looked tired, but not lost. "I've been going to a group," he said. "It helps people talk about their mistakes and how not to repeat them. It's not easy, but I'm learning a lot. I wanted to be a better man, even if it's too late for us. I listened. I didn't stop him. I still think about you, he said. About us. I know I hurt you. I can't fix that. But I want to thank you. You helped me see who I was and who I want to be. I looked down for a second, then back at him. I've thought about you too, I said. But mostly, I've been thinking about myself. For the first time in a long time. He nodded slowly. You look stronger. I feel stronger, I said. He didn't try to hold my hand. He didn't ask for another chance. He just stood there, with respect in his eyes, and somehow that made me feel safe. I should go, he said. But I'm glad I saw you. Me too, I said. He walked out. The door closed behind him. I stood there for a few minutes, and then I smiled. Not because he came, but because I didn't fall apart when he did. That night, I walked home from the shop. The sky was full of stars. The air was cool and clear. I felt like I was part of something bigger, something quiet and kind. I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know what the future held, but I had myself. I had peace. 1 week later, I went to the farmer's market. I walked past fruit stands, cheese tables, and handmade candles. I was looking at a basket of apples when someone spoke behind me. Do you like the green ones or red? I turned around and saw a man I didn't know. He had gentle eyes and a soft voice. I smiled and said, Green. They're not too sweet. He laughed and said, I like that too. We talked for a few minutes. His name was Daniel. He was new in town and worked as a school counselor. He said he liked to cook on weekends and read mystery books in bed. We ended up walking through the market together. He didn't ask about my past, and I didn't tell him. Not that day. But I liked the way he listened. I liked how calm I felt near him. We met again the next week. Then again after that. We went for coffee. Then dinner. Then a walk by the river. I didn't feel ready for love again, but I felt ready for kindness. Daniel didn't rush me. He didn't ask for anything. He just showed up, again and again, with a steady smile and gentle words. And that, to me, was enough. One evening, we sat at the park, the same park where I once said goodbye to Ryan. Daniel and I were quiet for a while. Then I told him a little about what had happened. I didn't say much, just that someone once broke my heart and that I was still healing. He didn't ask more. He just said, Thank you for telling me. I'm not here to replace your past, just to walk beside you now. That night, I cried a little, but they were not sad tears. They were soft, like something inside me had opened gently. I still think about Ryan sometimes, not with pain, not with anger, just with peace. We had something beautiful, and then it broke. but something strong came from it too. I learned how to forgive, not just him, but myself, for believing, for loving, for staying too long, and for walking away. Forgiveness didn't happen all at once. It came in pieces, like light through trees, soft and slow. It came when I let myself feel everything, when I stopped running from the pain and started walking with it, when I said, "You hurt me," and also said, "But I will not let this pain hold me forever." Now, I still wake early and go to the flower shop. I still wrap flowers in paper and ribbons. But now, I take more breaks. I talk more with customers. I laugh a little louder. I look at the sky more often. I also hold my own hand sometimes, just to remind myself that I made it through. Love can break us, but it can also teach us how to come back to life. And that is the kind of love I choose now, the kind that starts from within.